are similar to Adam in black trousers and a homespun double-breasted cotton shirt with a creased leather vest over it. He held a wide-brimmed black hat in one hand, and from the looks of his messy, dark hair, it appeared that he had just recently removed it. Adam knew better. Jim Lane never combed his wild mop of hair, and shaved only when he had to. That is, he claimed, when the stubble became too itchy. Thus Lane always looked as if he'd just come in from one of the wild winds that stormed across the Kansas prairie. That appearance contributed to his reputation of being a brilliant war general who was more than slightly mad. "Senator," Adam said as they embraced, clapping each other on the back vigorously, "glad to see you made it in one piece, and congratulations. If I'd still been in KT for the election, you'd have had my vote." "Thank you, and what's this senator nonsense?" Lane said. Though at 6'4", he towered over most men, he was just above eye level with the younger Adam. "You leave Kansas territory to travel with the president, and you get all formal and citified?" Adam grinned. "I reckon if you take a better look, you'll see I ain't been citified yet." He gestured to his scuffed, worn boots and the loose, knee-length frontier coat he'd not given up since coming to the capital. Lane laughed. "You, me, and Abe Lincoln, we're proof you can't take the frontier out of the man once he's been there, I reckon." Then he sobered. "Does he have any good idea what we're all up against?" The moment of easy humor passed, and Adam shook his head. "Hell, no one here does, Jim. No one who wasn't in Kansas knows how bloodthirsty and violent the pro-slavers are. The people here, no matter what side, are saying this'll be over by end of the summer. Tops." Adam gave a bitter laugh. "You and I know better than that." "I'll do whatever he needs," Lane said simply. "You tell him that." Lane and the president had become friends during Lincoln's speaking tour in Kansas only 18 months ago, in December 1859. At that time, Adam was barely recovered from the injury that took his arm, but he'd been with the future president while he traveled through Kansas and had introduced the two men. "That's why I'm here, besides that I needed to shake my new senator's hand." Adam's quick smile faded. "I heard most of your speech last night out there on the avenue. The crowd was too thick for me to get to you." "They had me standing on a rickety dry goods box out there on the street, and one of those bastards got close enough, tried to set me on fire." He flapped the back of his battered coat at Adam, displaying a coin-sized burn mark near the hem. "Damn near fell on my arse because the crate tipped on the cobblestones." Damn. But Adam wasn't surprised. The pro-slavers he'd encountered in Kansas were vicious and didn't hold back from any sort of violence. Better cobblestones and a rickety crate than standing in that swamp out past the president's house or in mud up to your ankles. Thank God for small favors, although I reckon I didn't expect to see a pair of pigs walking along the street in the middle of the capital city. "That happens," Adams said with a quirk of his lips. "They like to wallow behind City Hall in the square there." When Lane looked at him as if he wasn't certain whether to believe him, he added, "God's truth. Sometimes there are even chickens gathered on the National Mall there." "Well, I'll be damned," Lane muttered. "Lawrence is still more civilized than Washington. I thought that might have changed since I was here last. Anyway, I reckon your reputations preceded you here to the capital. All those Southern rebels know who you are, and they're telling tales." Adam had been at the outskirts of the crowd who'd gathered around Lane last night on the street shortly after word had come of the fall of Fort Sumter. The new Kansas senator was nearly as well known nationally as the new president, and was equally feared and hated by the pro-slavers. He was legendary for being a little mad and very bold when it came to battle. Adam had seen his friend acting with both strategic, calculated moments as well as in a sort of feral berserker sort of mood, both of which had sealed his reputation. However, he'd come away